Good evening, everyone. My name's Kenny,
And I'm Kevin.
and we are Hyperion Homes. So let's talk about the problem that I mentioned last week. Here in LA, we've seen a 23% increase in homelessness overall in the city, in the county of LA. And these problems contribute to different things. People losing their homes, losing many things. And one of the problems that contribute to people being homeless, as you can see, 42,000 people are unsheltered, living on the streets of Hollywood or LA County in general. And many of them develop problems, injuries, back problems, head injuries, and these problems end up taking them to the hospital. But wait, who's paying the medical bill? They have no insurance. They have no one to take care of them. No one's paying the medical bill. So who's paying the medical bill? Well, 1/3 of homelessness in the U.S. visit the ER about 5 times per year. That's about 433,000 homeless visiting the ER. And all those 5 visits per year cost about $18,500. That's about $8 billion of taxpayer money going into these medical bills. And many of the injuries can be prevented from just sleeping on a bed. Many of the injuries are head injuries, back injuries, and hypothermia and stuff like that. About 702 died during the winter.
So, a recent catastrophic event that has increased homelessness in the U.S. is Hurricane Katrina. So, Hurricane Katrina left 400,000 citizens displaced after damaging, or completely destroying about 800,000 homes in New Orleans. And of those 400,000 citizens, many went to the Superdome for safety and shelter, but only about 15,000 were actually let in. And even worse, the Superdome was only allowed to let each person in for 3 to 5 days. So safety and shelter was not guaranteed for families with children and women. So from there, my partners and I, we researched into companies that had similar visions to ours to help the homeless. So this is the first, EDAR, which stands for Everybody Deserves a Roof. So as you can see on the right, their design includes parts of a shopping cart, and it's able to retract and open up to essentially create a tent for the homeless. And so this group hasn't really been that active, so we like digged into their website and a bunch of different resources and found that they haven't had funding in a long time. So yeah, and we also found that the design was rather insufficient, right, Kenny?
Exactly. The design, you can see, it looks good. It provides a bed for homeless people. But there's one problem. Each homeless person that carries around a shopping cart isn't to sleep on it, but to carry their personal belongings. So this company compromises the storage space in order to have a bed. That's a good idea, but they can't carry anything within unless they're putting it on their bed, which many people won't do.
So this is another company that we found, Rolling Shelters, and they also had an idea to help the homeless. But as you can see in this one, you can also see that they utilize a shopping cart, but in this one, they don't have a bed. So they compromise the space for sleeping for a lot of storage space, and along with that, it's really bulky. So what we had in mind is using ideas from both of these companies, the space for storage and for sleeping, to create our own design.
And when we were coming up with our own design, we said we want to be better than these two companies. But we don't just want to be better. We want to go above and beyond. So the way we did it, we were able to make our design was to go out into the streets of Hollywood where we live, interview homeless people, get their input on how we should build it, and see what we can come up with that after. So last week I talked about Scott, the 50-year-old homeless man who's living in the streets of Hollywood. He was just one of 26 homeless people I went up to, gave food, and listened to the story. I didn't just ask questions. I want to get to know them. I want to get to know the story, how they ended up on the streets. I want to know how this happened. And from my questions I asked and me listening to their life story, I asked a couple questions, what they would want included. So surprisingly, they wanted about 74% of them wanted outlets for their phones, something that I never saw coming. And maybe it's just in Hollywood, in the Star City, but 74%, that's crazy. I would guess maybe 100% for a bed, but only 70% for a bed, 50% for cooler, and 41% for anti-theft wheels. So one of the biggest major issues within homeless people with shopping carts is their shopping cart being stolen by other homeless people. Sounds weird, but it's something that really does happen. So for our first prototype and description, we wanted to design something that's lightweight and mobile, something they can use and take everywhere, and something extremely durable. And something we included was a cooler just on the top right. anti-theft wheels, and a foldable bed that's on the other side. So on here you can see the foldable bed that's just extremely efficient in space. It's being folded inside, the cooler up there, and the lockable wheels. The bed is folded out. That's our first prototype. Not the best thing, but we're still working on it.
And so for future iterations, as we said, we do want to input an outlet. As Kenny said, many of the homeless actually wanted an outlet. So in order to actually make that happen, we want to input solar panels into the design in order to charge the outlets, so these people can actually charge what they need to charge. And as well as an awning over their sleeping space so we can protect them from heat and rain. And along with that, how many of you have ever had trouble noticing homeless people pushing around the shopping cart at night when you're driving? Anybody almost got in an accident? Anything? So to prevent that, we want to put reflective lighting on our design, as well as lights input into the design to prevent that from happening.
For our development plan, we want to look into materials. We don't just want to make this one single material. We want to make this lightweight. Those normal shopping carts you see at the grocery stores are heavy, but they're extremely durable. That's why the design hasn't changed over 50 years. So we want to look into anything from metal steel to wood ply that we would use and make it cheaper and very affordable. And for cost analysis, we want to keep this under $500. That's way less than the two other companies that were actually tried doing the same thing we did. And when we want to start our company, we want to start locally in Hollywood, spread out to neighboring cities like Santa Monica, East LA, South LA, and the Valley too. And one way we can do this is by targeting our local officials. Just last week, I had a meeting with LeVron Gubler, the president of the Chamber of Commerce of Hollywood. He loved my idea, and he referred me to a bunch of other people. Next week, I have a meeting with Sylvan De La Cruz, the community organizer for District 13 and advisor to Mitchell Farrell. So please, any comments, questions, or concerns, or any constructive criticism, please email me. I'll take it into account, and I'll think about it. And if you guys have any questions at all, just don't be afraid to approach us. We are Hyperion Homes.